Hello, everyone. I'm Renowned Zero, and we are back again talking about the Museum of Pop Culture, removing all references to Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling because of her views on a certain ideology. We're going to jump into this article here from Bounding Into Comics. Activist in Seattle's Museum of Pop Culture, project manager Chris Moore has revealed the museum is erasing every trace of Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling due to her supposedly super hateful and divisive views on this ideology. In a fairly lengthy blog post titled She Who Must Not Be Named, essentially treating her like Voldemort himself, even though she is a huge part of pop culture, and she still is and always will be. The Museum of Pop Culture project manager Chris Moore, who admitted to being a board member of the Seattle These People Choral Ensemble and an ex-Harry Potter, confirmed the museum's decision to remove the turf author for being too vocal for her views. Her viewpoints are front and center these days, but we can't forget all the other ways she's problematic, aka has opinions I disagree with, which that's their view. My view is her views aren't problematic. Her views are essentially biology is real and biological males shouldn't compete against biological women. It's not that controversial at all. Moore decries nothing the support of these creators, these stereotypes that she used while creating characters, the incredibly white wizarding world, the fat shame, and the lack of alphabet representation, which not everything needs that type of representation. If you want that type of representation, you can just make your own stuff. But again, these people don't have a creative bone in their body to do so. Super chill outlook on her and othering of those that don't fit into the standard wizarding world and so much more, even though Hogwarts Legacy had a trans character. So that destroys your narrative right away. So what are you talking about? And she never said these type of people can't read her book. She never excluded anyone from reading her book. Everyone for her was welcome to read her book. She never came out and said these type of people can't read her book. Moore does point out, however, that the museum has kept all artifacts from the Harry Potter films in fantasy worlds of myth and magic gallery, declaring they're there and trying to dance around it would make me look like a bigger hypocrite. Well, you're saying you are a hypocrite by including her stuff there, right? You're being a hypocrite saying you're removing certain things about her, yet you're still leaving stuff from her movies there, so you are a hypocrite. And yes, removing them would be you being a bigger hypocrite, because you know that her worlds have inspired a lot of pop culture. Long conversations are being had, and a lot of considerations around what to do with these type of people and content, because instances like this are going to keep happening. Again, J.K. Rowling isn't a problematic person for saying that biology is real, that there are only two genders, that biological men should not be competing against biological women. These are just kind of like common sense things. He further asserted, confessing that his position of manager influenced the curatorial team and categorized the erasure of the author from the Harry Potter exhibit. Even though it's her work, it's not your work, it's not your decision that you should be able to do. You shouldn't be allowed to do that. You shouldn't be allowed to remove the person that created the thing that you're displaying. Honestly, if you're going to remove that, you might as well remove the display and exhibit altogether. But you won't, because you know people will stop going there. At least certain people will stop going there because you remove something that they want to see, and then you're being petty by removing the person who created the universe that you are displaying at your museum. As he proceeds to explain the process behind the team's decision making once, quote, someone outs themselves as holding these ideologies I disagree with. While the Harry Potter series is a major player in the pop culture sphere, and it always will be, we wanted to give credit to the work of the actors, prop makers, and costume designers in our fantasy gallery. So you didn't want to give credit to the person who created the world, but you wanted to give homage to the actors, prop makers, and costume designers of the movies not the creator who wrote the book, took the time out of her life to write the book, so that you're able to even give said credit to those actors, prop makers, and costume designers. Make it make sense. More explained, we learned that You Know Who was a problem, which is why you'll see the artifacts without any mention or image of the author. Again, that's petty. Just because you disagree with it doesn't mean everyone else disagrees with it. It only makes you look terrible. Pointing out that inductees are specifically chosen by public voting, the disgruntled project manager explained that You Know Who was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2018, well deserved, before she became the face of this. If you keep looking in there, you'll see other figures with questionable, if not downright disturbing pasts. And not your problem, not your decision to decide whether or not to remove J.K. Rowling, we're going to say her name, J.K. Rowling, from that museum. It's not your place. It's not your work. It's not your place. Stop being a baby. For the time being, the curators decided to remove any of her artifacts from this gallery to reduce her impact. It's not a perfect solution, but it's what we were able to do in the short term while determining long-term practices. This is like removing the funny mustache man from natural history museums just because he did bad things. We have to learn from history in order to not repeat it. However, in this case, you're just being petty because you disagree with something that just makes sense. As we've continued to learn and grow, they're planning on continuing to add context to creators and content through our blog and possibly in-gallery QR codes. So you're essentially going to paint her a certain way because you disagree with something that she said. That's what you're doing. That's exactly what you're doing. And I hope you realize it. Regarding the museum's dedication to diversity and inclusion, the Seattle activist notes, of course, the work for diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility is a practice. All these things are fake. It's diversity for diversity's sake, not diversity of thought. Nobody cares about equity unless you're a lazy bum. It's why you're seeing more signage in our galleries around harmful language and hateful and divisive creators. Why we have ongoing conversations and trainings of all kinds of DEIA considerations, which is basically just this. And also why I felt safe to change my pronouns and start transitioning 4 years ago. Good for you. No one cares. No one cares if you're a grown-ass adult and you want to do that. Just don't expect everyone else to agree with you or do what you ask. Things like that. Like, don't try to force someone to use your quote-unquote proper pronouns. No one's going to take you serious when you do that. It's something that we take seriously and we'll always be striving for improvement. We're not perfect in this practice, and that's why it's called practice. A spokesman for the museum told The Telegraph, the Museum of Pop Culture is proud to support our employees and unequivocally stands with these communities. In an increasingly divided world, pop culture can unite, inspire, and spark important conversations. And yet you're trying to remove the person who created that Harry Potter world you like so much. Education and creative expression are the heart of our mission, and in our commitment to these things, we strive to elevate those that are left out of the mainstream pop culture conversation by amplifying voices and stories that are not always seen on museum walls. The statement concluded. So, once again, you're being petty. You're removing the author so that people could see that it's a woman that created this vast universe because you disagree with simple opinions like biology is real, there are only two genders, and biological males should not be competing against biological women in sports. Because what you're doing is basically saying you're okay with biological males taking away opportunities from biological women. You're okay with people not getting help for their mental illnesses. And for the two genders thing, you're just dumb. There's nothing more I can say for that one. But hopefully nothing happens to the museum, like less people going because you decide to be petty about this. and I think it's absolutely wrong of you to do it. That's just my opinion. But yeah, like I said, we'll see what happens. Thank you all for checking out this video. Really do appreciate all the new subscribers, returning subscribers, new viewers, returning viewers. If you do like this video, hit the like button, comment below what you feel about all this, subscribe for more content, check out the links in the description, and I will see you all on the next one. Peace.